It occurred to Orion Pax that he was on the verge of becoming a revolutionary. It was, in fact, a revolutionary act just meeting Megatron, whose reputation was already spreading. There were rumbles around the grid that Sentinel Prime was concerned, and that the High Council was considering action. If he himself kept on with his present course of action, Sentinel Prime might well express concerns about him. A data clerk from the Hall of Records drawing the attention of Sentinel Prime over the High Council? It was hard to imagine. Still, what else could he do? Every Cybertronian deserved the right of self-determination. Orion Pax believed this, and his friend Megatron believed it as well. As if summoned, Megatron loomed in the pyramid's doorway. Behind him glowered Barricade.
I see you've met some of the indigenous semi-intelligent life,
Megatron said. They clasped hands.
It is good to see you, my friend.
And you, responded Orion Pax. Friend. There was a word he had not used much, perhaps only with Jazz and some of the now-forgotten fellow students in his first training sessions out of the Well of Allsparks, when they had initially learned how to assume alt forms and learned what their natural alt forms would be. Inside, the pyramid was largely hollowed out. The internal space was crisscrossed with girders and catwalks, and much of its floor lined with spectator seating. Only the farthest comers appeared to still be used for manufacturing.
We have a separate aerial tournament that takes place here, Megatron explained. I fought here a few times, mostly underground, though.
You're running it all now? Orion Pax prompted.
Barricade takes care of the day-to-day details, and Shockwave handles the keeping the gladiators healthy and putting them back together.
Far off in the dimness, Orion Pax heard the skitter of tiny servos he always associated with minicons. Megatron chuckled.
Soundwave spies on everyone, he said. Even me, and especially you. This is how he demonstrates his loyalty.
They fell into a conversation then, as Megatron gave Orion Pax a tour of the pyramid and the uppermost subterranean levels. They passed through a training facility where ranks of Cybertronians did martial exercises under the direction of a drill master. Not far from there, a level down, was a vast machine shop in which armor and weapons were coming together under the skilled and watchful eye of warsmiths. This is all for the gladiator pits? Orion Pax asked.
It might be, said Megatron, depending on what else might require the services of a well-trained fighting force.
A thrill sparkled through Orion Pax's circuits then. My idea is that we advance our cause by spreading the concepts of freedom and self-determination, he said. We talk, we argue, we convince. Sentinel Prime is slow to react. The High Council will dither endlessly unless a problem walks directly into their chambers and demands to be solved. I don't think armed insurrection is going to be necessary.
Maybe that's what it looks like from Iacon,
Megatron said. It does, Orion Pax persisted. You came up through the gladiator ranks. Every problem looks to you like it can be solved by fighting.
And every problem looks to you like it can be solved by reading, Megatron came back.
Sounds like a compromise is in order, Barricade interrupted. He had only just caught up with them after disappearing for a few cycles on some errand. And around here, Orion Pax, compromise means agree with the boss.
Whoa there, Megatron said. This is a scholar from Iacon. He's not an ore hauler or smelter you can threaten. Orion Pax is a friend. He is my friend, and the movement's friend.
He locked optics with Barricade, whose ruby spotlight gaze was the first to drop. Understood, boss, he said. No offense meant. None taken, Orion Pax said.
Still, Megatron said, we have talked and talked and talked, And here in this pyramid, where so many like me have fought and died, we have talked and talked of freedom. It is time to act. Some Cybertronians loyal to me are out searching the planet for some of the artifacts of the primes. If it is granted on us to find them, that will be a sign that our cause is just. And others... He trailed off as if uncertain how to go on. Others what? Asked Orion Pax. Our ideas have taken root in different ways, my friend. Some of the more combative and fiery citizens of Kaon do not believe that ideas spread by talking. They believe that ideas spread by action.
Then we need to distance ourselves from them before they do anything stupid, Orion Pax said immediately. Violence at this stage will be counterproductive.
Counterproductive? Not wrong?
Megatron said. It took Orion Pax a moment to notice that the great Gladiator was teasing him. Of course wrong, he said. Megatron, if a bunch of firebrands go around Cybertron destroying things and putting our names on those acts, our ideas will be tarnished as well. We'll be written off as radicals. We'll be defined by the worst excesses of our followers.
Perhaps,
Megatron said.
Another way to look at it is that if we truly believe in self-determination and free will, we must respect the right of our followers to disagree with our methods and choose their own.
In a philosophical sense, of course, this was true. What Orion Pax knew, he could tell, could feel it right down to the spark in his body, that their philosophical discussion was not going to stay philosophical for long. A time was going to come when he would have to insist on doing things his way. But that time had not come yet. Not here, on Megatron's home ground, among Megatron's followers, who did not yet know that many of Megatron's ideas in fact came from Orion Pax. Of course, the reverse was also true.
So, you are with me, Librarian?
Megatron asked. Orion Pax looked around at the inner circle of ex-gladiators and other low-caste Cybertronians. He did not fit in, yet he was not afraid. I am with your ideas, he said. They are my ideas as well.
Excellent,
Megatron said. He turned to the gladiators who had paused in their work to watch them. A more brutish lot of Cybertronians, thought Orion Pax, could have not existed outside Slaughter City. And these were the Cybertronians who would usher in the new age of free will.
Cybertronians,
Megatron called out.
My friend, Orion Pax. Together we will lead all sentient citizens of Cybertron to a new age, a restoration of our former greatness. Megatron, Megatron, Megatron.
Megatron leaned close to Orion Pax as the chant washed over them.
Soon they will chant your name too, he said.
As long as they hold to the ideals, said Orion Pax, they can chant whatever they want to. Megatron laughed.
We need a name for our movement and its followers, he said. Something in line with what other great movements in Cybertronian history have been named.
Orion Pax had in fact been thinking about this for as long as he had taken seriously the idea that he might have some effect on the future history of Cybertron. The archives at Iacon were full of long-gone and forgotten movements that incorporated their beliefs in their names, one-word distillations of complex philosophies. Autobots, he said, for we seek autonomy and see it as our basic right.
Interesting. I, too, had thought of a name.
He looked as if he was about to say more, but Shockwave approached and said something quietly enough that Orion Pax could not hear it.
Ah,
Megatron said.
Come with me, Librarian. Something is about to happen that you will want to see.